Hello, hello, my friends. This is Jovanka from JovankaCiares.com. And today I have day one of a four-part video series all about women's health. As you know, it is Women's History Month, and it should be Women's History, and we should celebrate women every single day of the year. So, whether you're listening to this live or 6 months from now, you will get to have a ton of information about the female reproductive system and how to get our bodies nice and healthy for many, many years to come. At least the herbal medicine approaches that we take with respect to women's health. So today's topic, we're going to talk about four different topics. Obviously, we have many more topics that we could talk about when it comes to women's health, but in this particular series, we're going to focus on four specific health issues for women. Number one is going to be low libido, because yes, women do struggle with low libido, and a lot of it has to do with what's happening in our lives, but a lot of it might have to do with physiological issues that the herbal world can actually help you address. We're going to talk about perimenopause and menopause. We're going to talk about PMS, which I think is something like 70% of women struggle with. And we're going to talk specifically about endometriosis. More than anything, because these are the topics that I hear from people coming to me, mostly from social media, uh, about asking me for help about this particular topic. So, as I said, there's many more issues related to women's health out there that we could be talking about forever, but we're going to focus on these four for now. And every day we're going to come here live and talk for like 10 or 15 minutes about what does the world of nutrition, what does the world of herbalism uh, uses, or how do they approach the issues of women's health. So I want to start by reminding you, first and foremost, if you haven't signed up or subscribed to my channel, please do so by just clicking the little buttons somewhere in the world. And also make sure that you click the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my future videos. So let's get to it. The first thing that you need to remember or know, if you don't, is that this idea of being a woman, right, of having menstruation and having the ability to turn a few cluster of cells into a living being is, if for some reason in the modern world era we don't tend to appreciate or respect that process the same way that our ancient ancestors did back in the day. And in certain cultures around the world, this was a sacred time. It was a very special time. It was a time when women were considered almost like godlike or goddess likes. It was literally going from a human to going to some sort of superhuman, where you literally were turning food into people. And how amazing is that when you put it like that? Sadly, the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans started to talk about menstrual flow and the concept of womanhood and the process of giving birth as something dangerous, as something that was dirty or contaminated. And that was thousands of years ago, and we still are struggling with the trauma, the social trauma that has caused. And nothing could be more detrimental and dangerous to women in societies today. We still see women that are menstruating as something evil or dirty, and we need to keep them away from society for the days that they're menstruating. Can you imagine what that does, for example, to a young woman going to college? Or not to college, but going to school. Imagine a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old that has to miss a week of school every month because she is having a biological response to her body, which is a very cleansing, very purifying process, the process of menstruation. So I we're not talking about menses in this particular series, but I just wanted to start by talking about some of these issues, because it's really wild when we think about it, like how we tend to be both fascinated and a little afraid and a little angry at women. And as a society, as a modern society, all of us in the world need to pay attention to some of the trauma caused by indoctrination, whether it was religious or cultural or historical, but that is very much indoctrination that is harming us today. And I want to make sure that we start thinking about it objectively and take it from there when we're dealing with the symptoms that we struggle with as women, as people that menstruate and people that have the ability to give birth. So that then takes me to my first topic of this series, which is low libido. And essentially that means, let me start by defining it, at least from the alternative medicine perspective. We believe that a low sex drive, like a low ability to uh, increase your sex drive naturally, either because you have been exposed to something, say your partner is actually coming to you and kissing you and trying to seduce you, and that allows for a certain level of hormones to move around your body and your brain starts to go in a different direction, or because you are physically at a certain age group, or you are taking certain medication, or you're taking certain foods that cause you to have an increased sex drive. And that could be in most cases it's actually temporary, right? And then you actually like go back to your regular way of being once you have engaged in a sexual experience. Or if you haven't, eventually your body goes like, well, nothing I can do about this now, so I'm just going to go back to whatever I was doing. Low libido can be caused by a plethora of issues. It could be hormonal. It could be the fact that you might be taking medication that actually decreases your libido. It could be exposure to chemicals. It could be stress. It could be emotional. So it could be that there's something in your life that is preventing the natural ups and downs hormonally that will make for a healthy libido. Libido is essentially a healthy thing to do, right? We are sexual beings. And so having a sexual desire is important, especially if we are in a relationship or are interested in being in a relationship that will involve sex. And I'd like to make a caveat here that there are people that are not interested in sex, or for whatever reason, they choose not to engage in sex. And so this video is not for you. If you are asexual, or you have made it a lifestyle choice that will require you to not be engaging in sexual activity, then this is not for you. But if you are interested, if this is something that you want to and you're feeling like it's not happening as often as it could, then the very first tip and the very first advice that I would give you is to go to your doctor. OBGYNs are a dime a dozen in this country and in many Western cities. So there is no reason for you to struggle alone. You need to go to a doctor, make sure that you rule out any kind of physical problem, any kind of potential diagnosis is out of the way. And you also talk a little bit about your alternatives. When it comes to Western medicine doesn't really offer anything in the way of alternative options that you can combine with Western practices. Some doctors, however, do. And some of these people are actually open enough to say, I've heard of this particular plant or this particular food. The data may not be there. Remember, these are scientists, and so they rely a lot on data. And so if the scientific data is not there, they're going to be reluctant to recommend something. In the world of herbalism, we rely a lot on scientific data. but we also look at anecdotal data, right? Like, how long have we been using this plant? Have we been using it for thousands of years? What do the millions and millions of people that have used this plant for this particular thing have been saying about its efficacy? And so, based on that, we make certain recommendations. And when we make certain recommendations, you always have to go to your doctor. Make sure that your doctor is happy with the alternative traditions that you're taking, and figure it out from there. Now, the other thing that is important to remember is stress. Stress is enormous. Remember, especially for women, your biggest and most powerful sexual organ or reproductive organ is your brain, is your mind, and its ability to actually help you become more excited about the prospect of engaging in intimacy with your partner or not. So if you're stressed out, if you're in an abusive relationship, if you are extremely overweight, if you are eating a crappy diet, if you are struggling with depression or anxiety or diagnosed disorder, you need to pay attention to those, because those will always affect your libido, and no amount of food or herbs are going to help you if you're not paying attention to those other lifestyle choices. So I am the foods that I'm recommending you here are going to be based on the fact that you are going to explore all the things that I just mentioned, right? Your lifestyle and what's happening in your life, and hopefully find a way to use some of them as you also address the lifestyle choices. So the lifestyle choices will come this way, and the food and herbs will come this way, and hopefully when they meet in the middle, you'll be nice and juicy and ready for action. If you are not, make sure that you check with your regular herbalist or your nutritionist and dietitian, your doctor, and you figure out how to do it. So now that I'm done with that pontification, let's talk about the foods that will help. So there are certain foods that are naturally aphrodisiacs. Believe it or not, some fruit like figs, bananas, and avocados are considered to be aphrodisiac in nature. Why? Because they're loaded with vitamins and minerals. They encourage more blood flow to the genitals and naturally will help you increase your sex drive. Now, you might be wondering, like that's fruit and it's going to be sugary. Do not worry too much about the sugar. What I would recommend you, first of all, avocados have very little sugar. They're considered high in fat, so you can consume them with regular meals. The one thing I would ask you to do if you're consuming fruit is to try to consume them on an empty stomach and wait about 20 to 30 minutes before so that they can exit your stomach, and then you feel ready for more food. But this is what the anecdotal and some scientific evidence shows about this particular fruit. Vitamin C foods. So foods that are high in vitamin C are known to improve blood circulation to certain organs, not just the reproductive organs, but all kinds of other organs, especially healthy for the female libido. I'm talking about broccoli, oranges, red peppers, the citrus family, and guava. Anything that's iron rich. I say iron over and over because I have a hard time pronouncing that word in English. Iron rich levels. When your levels are really low in iron, it could have a negative effect on your sexual desire and your arousal and your ability to lubricate and your ability to even have an orgasm. Now, I am a vegan. I do not recommend beef or any kind of flesh, but people ask me all the time, is iron in red meat? It is true. It is, but it's also in dark leafy green vegetables like kale and spinach. And so you have plenty of other options. All you have to do is Google is Google it and find out that you find some iron-rich foods. You can alternatively take some supplements, although they tend to constipate you, so be careful. The other things that I like are sweet potatoes or yams. They're loaded with potassium, loaded with vitamin A. They can help you with high blood pressure, and they are known to help, especially men with erectile dysfunction. So for all the men in your life, please follow through. And then spices like nutmeg and clove are highly in antioxidants, great for overall health, but they also are great for libido. There was a research published in the Journal of Complementary and Alternative Medicine, specifically talking about these particular botanicals. The extracts of nutmeg and clove enhance sexual behavior in male animal subjects. Also, clove is really great at improving bad breath. So the kind of thing that will help you, get with it. As far as the other botanical, let me mention also nuts like Brazilian nuts and almonds. Almonds are really rich in zinc, selenium, vitamin E. Can't remember any other vitamins, but they're very healthy and they're supposed to be very good at improving sexual health and reproductive health. And then Brazilian nuts or Brazil nuts are also really high in selenium. All you need is maybe one a day, just one, maybe 1.5. It plays a really vital role in maintaining testosterone levels for both men and women. And testosterone levels are incredibly important when it comes to low libido. Now, when it comes to the botanicals that I love, absolutely, absolutely love. Panax Ginseng, it is, my suggestion is to go to your regular herbalist and talk to them about how often, what kind of regular amount and the frequency, because it depends on you and your particular lifestyle. So I will be hesitant to give you the exact amount and the exact frequency here. Ginseng has shown to increase sexual desire in women going through menopause. So if you're perimenopausal, we're going to talk about perimenopause tomorrow, or menopausal, you might be struggling with how to keep it up, right? And maybe your partner is also struggling because you're not as excited. We're going to have other herbs that are great for perimenopause tomorrow. Maca, really awesome. There's been a lot of research, and some of the research has shown that it's an adaptogenic herb. So it helps you adapt to stress. And once you reduce stress, it's easier for you to increase your sexual desire. It is also phenomenal at balancing your hormone and allegedly increases fertility in women, although that is more anecdotal than anything. Ashwagandha, another amazing adaptogen shown to help treat females with sexual distress in some studies. And finally, Yohimbe. Yohimbe is a little plant. I actually don't know if it's from Brazil or if it's from Africa, but it's really popular in the natural healthy living world as a plant that will help with orgasm dysfunction in both men and women, and allegedly it is an aphrodisiac. Now, this is mostly anecdotal. I have not been able to find any studies that actually conclusively show that that it has some ability to help, but there's a lot of supplements out there that include Yohimbe, because anecdotally, for many hundreds of years, people have been using this plant to help with low libido. That is my my broadcast for today. I hope it actually is helpful. If you have any questions specifically about these and others, how to best to take it. Is it pills or is it powder or is it in liquid form? We don't have a lot of time to go over all of the things here, but I just want to give you enough information that you can go out there and do some research, talk to your naturopathic doctor, talk to your herbalist, shoot me an email and let me know if there's anything I can help with, and in hopes that you can improve your health, increase your libido, and with it, reduce your stress, increase your energy, and feel amazing. Because as a woman, you deserve it. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you here tomorrow for part 2 of the Women's Health Live broadcast. See you soon.